Hello everybody, how are you? How you all doing? It's my birthday. Well, no, not really my birthday. My anniversary. Yes, 1 year today. 1 year today. I put my first video up on YouTube, and it's just steamrolling from there. Really. um, yeah, absolutely amazing year I've had on YouTube so far. And there's been so many things that's happened in the comic world this last year. I mean, it's just been such a big year for comics. Possibly the best thing about doing this has got to be meeting all you guys out there. Without you, this community would not be as great as it is, really. We have got some outstanding people in this whole comic book community on YouTube, and I know it's been said before, and I know there's been a few rumblings recently, but this is still the best community on YouTube ever, as far as I'm concerned. So there you go. This is a comic book review video, really. So let's get some comic books out. These are some comics, strange enough, comics that I have recently been sent to me by some wonderful people on eBay. Before I do that, I don't know if you remember on Saturday's video, or rather Sunday morning, because it was so huge, it took me about 16 hours to upload it. But when I said I went to my local comic book shop, the Forbidden Planet, miles away from here, I got given them in one of their freebie packs. Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. Let me just turn off my autofocus, because that just does my head in, and all of a sudden it just comes out of focus and goes back in again. That's better. Oh, some chins. Yeah, well, I'll just sort of show you. That was what was with one of the packs. The 10th Doctor. Sorry, can't count. The 11th Doctor. Yeah, and this is what was in the other pack. The Silence. Ooh. Yeah, remember that, because I'm going to bring that up a bit later on. Okay. Right. On to the that's better. There it is, in focus now. On to the comics. There's actually quite a few DC ones here. Come to think of it. We'll start off with Phantom Lady and Doll Man #1. This is part of the DC reboot, and as a rebooted character, I mean, quite frankly, Phantom Lady has been rebooted more times, I think, than the DC universe has. She's just one of those characters that has she's been around for ages, but nobody's really had much to do with her. She's just like popped up every now and then when somebody wants to bring out a Freedom Fighters series, or chucked in a Captain Atom story or something like that. As far as this one goes, it's okay. It's not really. Didn't really jump out at me and say, "Wow, I've got to get the next issue." I mean, I probably will, just to see how it turns out. But it's only a 4-issue miniseries, and that's probably a good thing. And it's only $2.99. So if you've got a few shekels left over after the party, then by all means pop out and pick it up. But there are better things out there to pick up than this, so it's not too bad. But yeah, only if you feel like it. And it's just a retelling of an updated version of her origin, really. Her parents get killed. She witnesses the murder, and she decides to spend the rest of her life avenging her parents' death by getting close to the mafia family that caused her parents' death. Dollman the Dollman in this comic is a guy that fancies her, wants to be with her, and she just doesn't take any notice of him because she's too hell bent on making this mafia family pay for what they did to her parents. So, in a sense, sort of like a Batman sort of character, but without the grim and gritty Dark Knight stuff that we all know and love. So yeah, you know, if you, like I said, if you've got a couple of pennies left over after getting your haul and you see it on the shelf, it might be worth a pickup. But other than that, just don't worry about it. It's nothing too amazing. Next up, we have from the Vertigo, DC Vertigo, the New Deadwardians #6, and a lot of people have sort of like said, "Oh, not really interested. It's not that good." But this isn't too bad actually. I mean, it's set in the Edwardian times, so it's round about the beginning of the 1900s, and that in Britain, and there's been a war between the humans and zombies. To enable the humans to beat the zombies, they used the disease of vampirism to create super soldiers, if you will, or you know, indestructible people, so they could kill the zombies, and that it sort of worked. The zombies are still around, and the vampires are seen as the vampires are more of the aristocracy, more of the upper class sort of people. They were the people that were given the vampire serum so that they wouldn't get killed on the battlefield. The normal human beings are seen as lower class, working class, and they don't really get on with the vampires. It is a very class. It is an interesting way at looking at the class system in the UK. Even now, I mean, there's all this talk about a classless society in Great Britain and the United Kingdom, but it's not a classless society. The rich have still got all the money. The poor people haven't got anything, you know, apart from what they make every day, sort of thing. And you know, this is quite close to what happens nowadays, really. You know, the poor people are looked on as nothing by the rich, and the rich are looked on as money grabbing bastards by the poor. But the only thing is, in this one, it's not so much the fact that they're rich, it's the fact that they're vampires. So yeah, there's a murder mystery in there as well. There's a body that gets washed up in the Thames estuary, and they have to the detective, who's also a vampire, has to figure out how this body got there. And you know, considering that the person who the person the body is of was a vampire and they shouldn't be able to be killed, and the fact that their dismembered body did wash up on the shore, he's got to try and figure out how this person was murdered. So yeah, probably this is issue 6, so it's probably an idea to pick it up in trade if you're interested. This I've been looking forward to reading. It's the Mark Wade and Steve Bryant, Steed and Mrs. Peel, #0. And if you don't know who Steed and Mrs. Peel are, there was a TV series in the 60s called The Avengers. I think the Marvel Comics Avengers come out first, and then this TV series come out, but there was literally like less than a month or something like that when they first when they come out, sort of thing. So there was no sort of like real worry about copyright in those days, sort of. But this has been called Steed and Mrs. Peel just so it's not mistaken for the Avengers, as I'm sure people in Disney and Marvel think would happen in the UK. You know, as with the Avengers movie, seeing it was renamed Marvel's The Avengers Assemble for the UK, just in case people got mistaken for thinking it was going to be the Mrs. Peel and the bowler hat wearing Steed, you know, and not the armoured Iron Man, Thunder God Thor, Super Soldier, Captain America, and such and so on. You know, come on, Disney Marvel. Do you really think people in the UK are that stupid? Okay, some of them might be, but you know, all of them, not all of us. You know. Anyway, rambling. Steed and Mrs. Peel. If you have seen the movie, if you have seen the TV series, Yeah, if you have seen the movie of the Avengers with these two characters in it, ignore it. But if you have seen the TV series of it, this is very close to the TV series. It it involves in this story the Hellfire Club, which was a group of rich aristocratic people who did deviant things because they could. And this is sort of an updated version of the Hellfire Club. They're being run by the same person, but they've shied away from the more darker side, and they're more of a futuristic sort of club now. But yeah, it is really close to the TV series that was out in the 60s, and I think it was just a jolly good read. Actually, it was fun to read, and there was just enough of the peculiarness that you had in the TV series in this to make it worth picking up. I think this has got about 5 or 6 covers to it. I've got the other one as well, which I think I showed on my comic book unbagging. So yeah, definitely well worth picking up especially if you're an Avengers fan, or even if you like Mark Waid. What do we have here? We have weird. Sorry, the moment. Yeah, we have from Valiant, Archer and Armstrong, #1, and quite frankly, everything Valiant's doing at the moment has just been fantastic, absolutely phenomenal. I've also got Exo Man of War #4. I am looking to get every single comic that Valiant are making with this rerun. There's this reboot of their series that they're doing. This is how a comic company reboot should be done. Okay, DC, yeah, if you're listening, what Valiant is doing is 1,000 times better than the way DC has done their half-assed, quite frankly, half-assed reboot that they've done. And the best thing is that they've still stayed true to the original characters of the original Valiant universe that was out in 94, 95, and went on for about 10, is it 10, 15 years, isn't it? No. About 10 years, I think Valiant went on for, before they unfortunately went into liquidation. But if you haven't picked up any of the Valiant titles, I seriously suggest that you do. If not in the single issues, which isn't impossible, because the oldest comic they've got so far is Exo Man of War, was issue 4. I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to pick up the first 3 issues and this one. You've also got Harbinger, which is on issue 3 at the moment. Bloodshot, which is on issue 2, and what is it next month? You've got Bloodshot. In November, they've got #1 of Shadow Man, which I'm really looking forward to. In this one, you have one of the characters, Archer, who has been brought up from the day he was born by a cult that has been told that they have to kill a guy called Armstrong, who is an immortal, because supposedly he is evil incarnate. He's going to bring around the end of the world, and this cult has been training children up to become assassins to kill Armstrong. So Archer is the top of his class. He is perfect every way. He has an ability where he can read somebody's fighting style and match that perfectly, but he also remembers it as well. So if you try to fight him with kickboxing, he will automatically change his fighting style to become a perfect kickboxer and read your movements and be able to block them and parry them as well, and beat you. As I said, Armstrong is an immortal. He can't die. It hurts if he gets shot, but you know, he can't die. And it's at the end of this issue that Archer finds out that the cult is just that. They're a cult. There's no reason for them to actually be going after Armstrong, apart from the fact a mysterious benefactor for the cult wants Armstrong dead for some reason. But yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. If you haven't picked it up, Exo Man of War #4, again another series from Valiant Comics. This has got you have to excuse me, I can't remember the main character's name, but he's come back from space after being taken captive and turned to slavery. He has now got the Exo Man of War battlesuit on, and where he was originally from the 800s AD, he is now in 21st century Earth, and he goes to Italy, he goes to Rome, thinking that the Roman Empire is still about. When he sees Rome as it is, he thinks that, you know, their empire has just expanded exponentially and they are now ruling the whole world. Until he finds out that Rome now is just a city, and Italy doesn't have, you know, they don't have an empire, and really, they're on the world map. Italy isn't anything really. No, they're not the major player they were centuries ago. Yeah, it is just a brilliant comic. If you know, if you haven't picked this up yet, seriously suggest you do so. The artwork in it, oops, the artwork in it, as is with Archer and Armstrong and Harbinger and Bloodshot, it's just absolutely brilliant. Where is it? Gary Nord is doing the artwork for this, and it is just wonderful. It is a joy. When DC Comics done their reboot, I was quite disheartened by comics as a whole. I mean, Image Comics was bringing out some brilliant comics. Marvel were so-so. They were like in the same boat of DC, of just regurgitating old stuff. And DC Comics, the reboot was just, it is just terrible. Valiant Comics is actually giving me new hope for the comic industry. Yeah. This, as I said, this is how a reboot should be done. And any comic company that is looking to do a reboot, look at Valiant and what they're doing. Okay. On to DC Comics. This is the last 4 comics that I'll be doing on this review. If you remember in my comic unbagging video, I said there were some DC comics that I'd cancelled, which were Green Lantern, The New Guardians, Red Lantern, Demon Knights. Batwoman came so close to being cancelled. I was getting very bored with it. It was only because Ghost Critic told me not to cancel it because J.H. William III was coming back and it was all going to be fine. So I'm going to give that another few months and see how it goes. But this is another comic that I've cancelled. All-Star Western #12. The only thing I was reading this for was the backup stories. They were the most interesting things in it. And quite frankly, paying $3.99 or the equivalent that I would pay in this country for 6 pages wasn't worth the money that I was spending on this. It's okay. I mean, I've never really been a big cowboy and Indian, cowboy western comic book fan in any case. I liked the pre-reboot Jonah Hex comic. That was really good. I mean, it was a really interesting read. All-Star Western just seems to me that they are trying so hard to intertwine a character that really shouldn't be that embedded in the history of DC Comics. They tried it once before when they put him into the future, when they had the series Hex, where he was transported to the distant future, and it was You know, it was Jonah Hex in sort of like a Zardos, sort of like, that weird film with Sean Connery in it, where he wore that weird red crossy thing and boots, and that was about all he wore, which was a bit scary. But there was not. There's not many series that can do Jonah Hex justice. The 3 miniseries that they did with Vertigo, which was Riders of the Worm and such, Two Gun Mojo, and there was a third one which I can't remember the title of, but they were really good. They were like Western horrors, and they were really good. The pre-reboot Jonah Hex series was a really good read. This is just plodding along, not much happening, and like I said, they are trying to intertwine a character into the DC universe that, they're putting things in there like the crime Bible. They've had the Talons from the Batman series in this as well, and it just seems like they are just chucking everything they can into this comic, but nothing's happening, really, nothing at all. So yeah, that's definitely been cancelled. So there you go. Another comic that I have been quite disappointed with has been Before Watchmen, Minutemen #3. This is, apart from Night Owl, this is possibly the weakest of the Before Watchmen comics. The best ones that they've got out there is, surprisingly enough to me, Ozymandias. Yeah, that is a really good miniseries, and one that I think everybody knew was going to be pretty good, which was the Rorschach miniseries. I mean, it's only been the first issue, but that was just wow. That was the Rorschach character. In this, they are trying to flesh out characters that really didn't have much story to them. They were only put into the Watchmen series as like a backup, as a sort of how can I put it? They were sort of like the shadows that people sort of like don't take notice of. Really, they were sort of like background noise for the rest of the Watchmen miniseries. So that, and it's really unfortunate because I like Darwin Cook. I think his work and his artwork is fantastic. His what was it, DC Universe New Frontiers miniseries that he did, which was where they sort of like done a miniseries that was based in the Silver Age of the DC Universe, and that was brilliant, absolutely fantastic. This is just, it's just filler where there doesn't need to be any filler. You're giving characters in here that you don't really need to know anything about, because they're not really that detrimental to the actual story of the Watchmen, the main Watchmen story. And yeah, it just doesn't gel well with me. I mean, I'm a completist, I'm a fanboy. I'm probably going to buy the last 3 issues, because nothing's more annoying than having half of a miniseries and not getting the other half. But other than that, not really enjoying that at all. I know, I can hear you all going, "What? How can you not enjoy it? It's great," but it's taste. It's my opinion. If you like it, that's fine. Put it in the comment section. Try and persuade me to like Minutemen, okay? All right. The final 2 are 2 annuals from DC Comics, and yeah, not that impressed. The first one is The Flash, annual #1. The thing that's, well, one of the things that's really bugging me about the new rebooted DC Universe is, and I've noticed this in the Justice League. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, or whether it's just me and me being nitpicky in that. But the characters now, they are so whiny. They're acting like immature, spoilt brats with superpowers. You have this whole. I mean, beforehand, before the reboot, the Justice League were a team. Yeah, they were a group of superheroes that got on and they saved the Earth, and they did it because they were good at what they do. They did, and they worked as a team to save the world. In Justice League, it's almost as if they are saving the world by accident. You know, they seem to be bickering, whining, and bitching between each other, and then all of a sudden at the end it's like, oh, and we appear to have saved the world again. Oh well, that was lucky. Anyway, I don't like your ears, Batman. They're a bit too pointy for me. And well, you look stupid about your red pants, Superman. What do you think you're doing in that venom-like armor? You're supposed to be indestructible. You ain't got. You shouldn't need armor. That sort of nippy, nip. Yeah, it's like nippy at each other. And the same thing was with the Flash. This new Flash. This is not Barry Allen. Barry Allen. When I used to read Barry Allen years and years ago, he he actually got the job done, and there wasn't any whining or moaning. I mean, the guy's wife got murdered by his main villain, Professor Zoom. But did he sit there and whine and moan about it? No, he got on with it. He saved people, and he didn't. It didn't. Obviously, it phased him, but he didn't let it stop him from saving the world and saving people. In this, Barry Allen, it just seems to, every time he's doing something, it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Oh, what if I did? Oh, and he's second guessing himself. And this is not Barry Allen. I know it's a reboot, and I know there's probably going to be people sitting there going, oh yeah, but it's a reboot, and they're supposed to be heroes that have only been around for 5 years and that. But they're not heroes. They're whiny kids with superpowers. In this one, we see how the rogues have gotten their amped up superpowers. There was some kind of gene bomb. I don't know. I didn't really take much notice of it because, one, the artwork was bugging me, and two, the pacing of the story was just very. Considering this is the Flash, yeah, and considering this guy is supposed to be the fastest man alive, the pacing of this story was very, very slow. It didn't get going until the last sort of like 10 pages, and even then it wasn't that interesting. Considering that the Flash used to be my favourite superhero of all time, other than Spider-Man, this is a big downfall for the Flash, if you ask me. And yeah, nah, not worth it, especially for $4.99. Not worth picking up. If it wasn't for the fact I managed to get this cheap off eBay, I wouldn't have picked it up either. Which brings us to the last comic of the review, and considering this is nearly going on for half an hour, it's probably a good job. Green Lantern, #1, the Rise of the Third Army prologue. Yeah, another one that just isn't doing it for me at the moment. Jeff Jones on Green Lantern before the reboot was phenomenal. The Blackest Night was absolutely amazing. The War of the Green Lanterns was just a brilliant aftershock from the Blackest Night. Green Lantern after the reboot, nah, it's almost like Jeff Jones is painting by numbers now. Yeah, he's been writing this character for what, 5 years now, a bit longer than that, and he's plodding along in that. This is the start of sorry, I've got hair in my eye. This is the start of a massive crossover between the Green Lantern series, Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern New Guardians, and the Red Lanterns. And I am not bothered about the fact that I've cancelled the only 2 Lantern-esque series that I was getting. I'm sure I've seen creatures like the Third Army somewhere before. I've seen creatures that have reproduced. If you haven't read this comic, I'll try not to do any spoilers on this, but I'm sure I have seen creatures that have reproduced the same way in another comic somewhere, or even in a TV series somewhere. I'm sure I have. I can't put my finger on it just yet, but when I do, I'll get a eureka moment. But other than that, the look of the characters, the look of the Third Army, right? And this is to go back to the beginning of the video, all that long ago. this is a spoiler, okay? If you haven't read Green Lantern Annual, and sorry, I'm sweating, and you want to, this is a spoiler, right? I'm going to show what the Third Army look like, okay? I'm not going to show too much, but I will show you what the Third Army look like, okay? There you go. That is the Third Army. Yeah, that's the Third Army. Take the suit off of it, it's exactly like the Silence from Doctor Who. Methinks somebody was watching an episode of the last season of Doctor Who when they designed the Third Army. The design of them is so much like. I mean, they've even got 3 fingers, and yeah, if I remember correctly, the Silence had 3 fingers as well. So apart from, like I said, apart from the fact they're not wearing suits, it's exactly the same as the Silence. Yeah, their powers are different than that, but other than that, the actual design of it is exactly the same as the Silence, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. In my opinion, must remember that one. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be lots of people who love this. I'm not one of them. Again, this is just Jeff Jones plodding along until he comes up with the next big thing, which is probably going to be the Justice League of America series that's coming out next year, which looks like it's going to be a pile of pants. You know, a bunch of third string superheroes that nobody really cares about pushed together with Jeff Jones writing it. I'm sorry, but if Jeff Jones writes the Justice League of America series like he's writing the Justice League series, nah. So yeah, not really a great haul from my comics this week. Hopefully next time I do a review video there will be some decent comics on there. I mean, you've got the Zero issues from DC Comics coming out this month, which I'm hoping will be interesting, at least the ones I get anyway. But enough of that now. This is where did I put it? This is my 1st year anniversary video. Bent at the end. I can't think of anything else to do for some kind of audience participation thing other than what everybody else has done on their anniversary or milestone video, which is to throw it open to you and have you guys ask me questions. If you have any question at all, hopefully it's going to be about comics. If not, then any question whatsoever, I don't mind. I'm open-minded. You know, like I said, preferably about comics, but if not, who knows? You know, let's open the field to this one. So yeah, any questions you have at all, put them down in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them as honestly as I can. You know, all bar, you know, some maybe see how it goes. So yeah, there you go. Getting comfortable. Yeah, I think that's it really. Over to you guys. Questions down in the comment section below. Thank you everybody who subscribed. Thank you everyone who helped me out last month with my massive videos a day thing. It was a blast. Absolutely, I had absolute whale of a time doing it. Yeah, I keep on saying now, so I'm going to stop this video. So thank you everybody for subscribing. Thank you all for watching. If you have any comments or questions for my 1 year anniversary video for this, and I'll answer the questions in the next video, then put them down below. I will leave this whole question thing open for a week, so that should give people enough time to see this video and think of some questions and to stick them in the comment section. If you like the video, thumbs it up, brilliant. If you didn't like the video, as I always say, don't just thumbs it down, say why you didn't like the video. If you don't agree with what I said about any of these comics that I reviewed today, by all means tell me. You know, I mean, that's just my opinion. If you think you can change my mind on the comics that I reviewed today, then please be my guest. I am all for. I am an open-minded person, and you know, I would love somebody to try and change my mind on some of those comics that I slated a minute ago. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Have fun. Remember, the comics you read, make sure you enjoy them. And yeah, see you soon. Ta-ta for now.